PolyVision and the new Poly Prep Coaches Corner show.
I'm Caitlin Lair.
And I'm Hope Brennan, and we are your new hosts. We are really excited to have as our very first guest coach, Rich Corso, Poly Prep's head of athletics. Coach Corso, welcome to Coach's Corner.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. There are so many questions we are anxious to ask you, so let's get right in. Where were you born and what sports did you play growing up?
I was born in the great borough of Queens, New York. And when I was a little kid, I played a lot of stickball, I played basketball, and I learned how to swim then.
What made you want to become a coach?
You know, I never really wanted to be a coach. I was a political science major my freshman year in college, but I was swimming. I was a college swimmer. And then I said, you know, I'm not going to be a politician, I'm not going to be a lawyer, so I went to coaching.
How did you get involved in the Olympics?
I was really lucky, and a lot of it had to do with being in the right place at the right time. I was at UCLA, and I was the assistant men's water polo and swimming coach, and we were having a great run with both teams, and one of my duties was to coach the goalkeepers, and once things started to fall in place with the training protocols, and we had some pretty talented goalkeepers at the time, the national team contacted me, and they said, would you be interested in coming on board as assistant coach for the Olympic team, for the '84 Olympic team. And this was right after the boycott of 1980 Olympics. So they picked me up right after the boycott, and one thing led to another. We won the silver medal in '84, and then after that, I was with the Olympic movement for about 26 years.
What were some of the highlights of your coaching career?
Anytime we've been able to win, when I say we, with the team that I've been with, when we win a medal, when we win a championship, those have been highlights. I would say over the last couple of years, being in Los Angeles at the last school that I was at, Oaks Christian, we won a CIF championship, which is like a state championship in New York. And then last season, we were the second best team in the country. We had a great team. And then before that, obviously medaling at the Olympics, winning an NCAA championship at Berkeley, winning the conference championship at Berkeley, and winning an NCAA championship at UCLA, all ranked real high. But anytime you take a group of kids, young adults, young men, young women come together and you win a championship, that's always a special time.
That's really awesome. So what made you want to come to Poly Prep?
The headmaster, Odrius Barstukas. Everybody thinks that I knew him from Harvard Westlake. And when I was at Harvard Westlake, I was only there for about 6 or 8 months when he was there. Because then I went to Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley. I was the women's coach there. I met Odrius just before the Barcelona Olympics. And he was in another career then, and he was working for the United States Olympic Committee and the United States Swimming. And during that time, I was the head coach from Canada. And then after the Barcelona Olympics, the United States asked me to come home and be the head coach of the United States Olympic team. And then I worked with Mr. Barstukas for 4 years. Had a great experience. We had a great result in Atlanta, and we really changed American water polo. And that's how we met.
What is your role at Poly?
My role at Poly is to supervise or look over sport and physical education from kindergarten till 12th grade.
How do you work with Coach Piscopo and the other administrators and coaches at Poly?
Well, first let me say that I am really fortunate to work with Coach Piscopo, and she's been great. I mean, she is a veteran leader, not only in the school, but in the community, in sport. She's had a lot of success, and she's had great success with her student athletes. So I'm really fortunate to work with her. We partner together as much as we can. In the spring, I try and take some things off of her plate so that she can focus on her team more. And we just work together, and it's been real positive so far. And for that matter, with the rest of the deans, the head of school, admissions, advancement, I'm really lucky because everybody here, they're all professionals.
How is the new strength and conditioning program going?
Fantastic. It is fantastic. One of our first hires this year has been Richard James. He's a 2004 Olympian, and I mean, when I met him, we hit it off right away. He's also a world champion. More importantly, that was his athletic career, but his strength and conditioning career has been great over the last 12 years. I believe at LIU, he's been a consultant for a lot of other teams as well, and he gets it. He understands the athlete development picture and how we're going to become, instead of being just good, we're looking at it now becoming great, bringing it up another level. So I think all of our teams are going to flourish with Richard on board. And there's one thing that I can tell you about the Poly teams. We may not be the best team out there, but we will be the fittest team. So.
What lessons do you think students learn from athletics?
Well, I think number one is taking responsibility. I think anybody who's serious about sport and that wants to do well in sport, number one, they got to figure out, number one, they have to figure out why they're playing sport. Once they figure that out, they take responsibility. I'm responsible for my fitness, for my skills, for my IQ of the game, and then sometimes you have to be, you have to manage and be responsible for your injuries as well. So from that perspective, that's number one. And then there's nothing better than being on a team, right? Not only being a good teammate, but being on a team and having a goal. So those two things, and that's kind of lost right now out there. Not everybody does that, and that's why I think sports are so important.
What is your vision for Poly's athletic program?
As I said earlier, I use the analogy with Richard James. Poly has had good teams in the past, and I think the important thing is that we're not just thinking about being good, but we want to be great. And one of the other reasons why I came to Poly is because of excellence, not just in sport, because we're not a sports school. We're an independent day school that's pretty good in sports. And there's got to be excellence in drama. There's got to be excellence in speech and debate, and of course the academic piece as well. That's why this position was so attractive to come to a place like this.
What characteristics do you think it takes to become a great athlete?
Well, I think the most important thing is consistent hard work. If you show up once a week and you work relatively hard, you're just going to be okay. But if you want to, vie for, let's say, a national team, an NCAA Division I scholarship, think about maybe a league, MLB, NBA, NFL, whatever it may be, you have to start young. And I'm talking 10, 12 years old. Be disciplined with that throughout your high school years. And then, of course, you've got to have great coaching, and you have to have a large amount of buy-in on that as well as an athlete.
What were your impressions on your first Poly homecoming?
Well, first and foremost, it was a beautiful day.
Yeah,
it was just a great day out there. I was surprised at how many people showed up. It was great to see. I was able to go to admissions. We had a great turnout in admissions. I believe over 300 people showed up. That's huge for Poly. Yeah. And then we had a great crowd at the volleyball game. I thought that was exciting. Good crowds. I'd like to see better crowds at both soccer games. And then I thought for football, we had an outstanding crowd. So everybody did well. Boys soccer had a rough day, but they battled. That's the most important thing. They were in there fighting the whole time. So for my first for my first homecoming, I thought it was great.
Coach Corso, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to chat with us and for all you do each day at Poly Prep Student Athletes. Thank you so much for tuning into Coach's Corner. We will be back soon on PolyVision with another great guest.
See you there.